And now we're ready to start the double crochet, the most basic crochet stitch. The Americans call it a single crochet. I think we call it a double crochet because it involves 2 yarn overs for each stitch. All will become clear. Here we have the chain you created, reasonably neat. Now if you look closely, you can see the chains forming like a little column of V's, V shapes, each with its own arm pointing inwards. Each V constitutes a stitch, and the double crochet on the very first row is going to go into what we call the back loop of each of those stitches. Okay, so if you think of the back loop as being the arm that is furthest away from you, and the front loop as being the arm that is closest to you, if you put your hook straight into between the 2 arms and then lift up that back loop. And now we do something similar to the chain, where we yarn over around the back, hook it under the hook, push it out of the way with the index finger, and then pull that loop over and off the hook again. You should, if all has gone well, be left with 2 loops on the hook now, which you hold away from the hook a little bit with your right hand, your fingers of your right hand, to give that vital bit of space and air there to keep them loose. We simply do a second yarn over and then pull both loops over at the same time. Okay, and then hand it back to the right hand and keep that tension, that space between the hardness of the hook and the softness of the knot at the bottom of the loop. Okay, so that's your first double crochet stitch. Okay, so now we look for the next V. We can see where we've gone in there, and we now want to go in there. I'm going to go in between the 2 V arms and pick up the back loop. Yarn over and pull that first loop off. Yarn over and pull the last 2 loops off. Watch how I continue that pattern of handing backwards and forwards from left hand to right hand. How I maintain the tension, the space, the air between the hook and the knot at the bottom of the loop on the hook to keep it loose. Now find that next stitch. It's gone in there, so the next V is there. Okay, so I'm now going to go between the 2 V's and pick up that back loop. Hold it fairly firmly with the right hand. Yarn over, push it back with that index finger, and then grasp the crocheting with the left hand, pull it over and hand it back to the right hand. And now we're beginning to get something forming, a pattern of double crochet stitches. So let's do a few more. Next stitch, back loop only, yarn over, just that first loop over, yarn over a second time and the last 2. Okay, find the next stitch, it's in there, back loop only, yarn over, pull that first stitch over, yarn over again, pull the second 2 over. Okay. Into the stitch, yarn over, pull it over, yarn over, pull those last two over. Okay.